Okay, so what's up, everybody? Mr. Loki back in the house with my esteemed guest, Mr.
What up, what up? It's PedTalks. Yeah, glad to be back on the show. Yeah,
Fresh,
let's get
fresh.
into it.
So, for part two, we are going to be
Yeah, yeah.
discussing how to apply for an overseas program, how to apply to a Korean university, and we'll be talking about language tips. And PedTalks has got the credentials. Um, Made top of your program at Witwatersrand University. So please could you demystify how does one do it? What are the study tips you would have given to your first year self?
Yeah,
Because that is no joke. This is
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah,
people go to die. People
yeah,
don't play there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Just to clarify, I made top of my program on my research project, my research side. But in general, tips for like an undergraduate program, I think the biggest one would be time management, and I think understanding yourself as a learner. That's very important. And I think by the time you're getting towards the end of your university program, even before, even as soon as you start, you should be developing some type of awareness about yourself as a learner and how you learn, what sort of methods work best for you. Yeah, that along with time management, those are the two
So
biggest
what
ones.
was like a
What do you
typical
would
day
you, would
like
you
for
agree with
you?
those, or
Um,
during undergrad, or
yeah. So let's say your first day, you're a first year orientation.
mm,
What was like a
yeah.
typical day like for you?
Orientation was just like we in this like new unknown world and we don't know what's gonna happen. And it's university, it's not high school
Mm,
anymore.
mm,
Like
mm,
it's the grown up stuff.
mm.
Like yeah, it was kind of scary. Like
Yeah.
I was studying quantity surveying and
Mm.
construction management stuff.
Wow.
So it just felt so grown up from the get go. It's
Mm,
not like high school subjects like chemistry, science, maths, whatever,
mm,
whatever.
mm,
But then once we started getting into it, and we had many opportunities to visit industry places, visit construction sites, visit companies, then you gradually do start to get a taste for what the work is about, what the industry is about, what a career and whatever profession you study is about. Another really good tip would be if you want to fully go into a career in whatever you're studying, try to get industry connections as
mm,
early as possible.
mm,
So apart from your internships, which might be required, maybe like a
mm,
6 week internship within your undergraduate program. If you have other opportunities during your holidays, or even maybe a few times in the week, if you can ever stop by at any companies or try build relationships with companies, it will help you tons to start to see from early on how what you're
mm.
studying actually contrasts to. And a lot of the theoretical academic work we okay.
Mm.
Hello?
Sorry about that. It cut off for a bit. Could you please repeat that?
Yeah. Is it okay? Is it okay now?
Yeah, sorry,
Is
it's
it
much
okay?
better. I'm also just gonna try
Hello?
close all of the different windows I have open,
Okay.
and we'll see if it speeds up. Okay,
Yeah.
I've closed everything. All I have open is the Zoom. So you mentioned the industry connections, how it's important to set that up
Okay.
initially.
Perfect. Yeah, a lot of the time, like how what we study in university, all the academic and theoretical content, they don't directly correlate with the we're gonna be doing industry,
Mm, mm,
and also I ended up doing my master's. I ended up doing my then when I had interaction with industry people,
mm,
one of the biggest things I observed is in the real world, you focused on solving real world clients.
mm,
People have needs. People have deadlines. you have many project participant solutions. Whereas in the academic world, we play a lot with concepts, with ideas. So that's the aim to into industry in whatever field it may be. The sooner you start getting a feel of the practical everyday work that goes into your industry and what type of interactions you need to be making with people on a daily basis, the sooner you start developing those skills, the better.
Okay, nice. Okay. You mentioned what my opinion might be on it. So at that particular point in my life, we were going hardcore with the b-boying and the breaking, and my perspective about that really shifted into other areas of my life. And initially, when I started my first year, it was, as you mentioned, it's overwhelming. You've never taken on so much responsibility to do a course, because I think in high school the teacher teaches you, in university you teach yourself. The lecturer mentions sometimes what they may be testing you on. Other times it's a surprise, and you have to take on some other survival skills where if you're aiming to pass, it's not even good enough. This is, I think, the type of institution where if you aim for a 50, if you're lucky, you'll get a 30. If you aim for an 80, if you're lucky, you'll get a 50. If you aim for 100, you knock out everything, maybe you'll get an 80%. Maybe. It's it was an, I think, in my life, it was an experience that changed me big time, because
that's exactly what it felt like.
It really showed me that doing enough is never enough. At least for me personally, the only way to pass at that institution was you have to do too much. It's the only way. Reading the book, you won't even pass. You need to know the study guide. You need to review constantly. After the lecture, go back, review, take notes. And the smartest people also failed. So for me, that was an extremely humbling experience. Like, I think about it even to this day, that it was the type of institution that taught me how to fight with challenges. There's some of the most incredible challenges, and you sort of had to just get through it. And we also had another colleague who was doing engineering, and one of the stories he used to tell us about is I think during his finals exams, they put two very difficult finals. I think one was in the morning, the other was in the afternoon.
Right next
one
to
was
each
the
other.
day. And then he
God.
asked, what should I do? And then the admin said, oh, maybe take a rest and then write the next exam. And that was like, what? Fatality. Like, that was incredible. Like, it really showed me it's the type of where if you're just aiming to pass, you won't pass. If you're aiming to beat the bottom student, you won't pass. You have to aim literally for the top. And time management, sure. And I had to do even other extra things. I had to get my diet on point, get enough sleep, remove distractions. There was a point I couldn't have any exam time. There was no time for distractions. It's the type of institution where if you did little, shortcuts that you did in high school, it's none of that. You studying the night before.
What was the biggest distraction?
Girls, trying to chat up girls. You have to reach a point where you sacrifice everything, and you'll just go to the library and study. And people be like, hey, let's hang out. No. No time to hang out. Let's go study now. Hey, let's go watch a movie. No, we don't watch movies. I study. I have to study now. And the joy comes after the exam. You learn how to you have to be like Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. Focus. You have to have a vendetta against the course you're doing. Study with obsession. And it tied into you have to pick a topic. You have to pick a topic that you love, because you are going all the way. You are not doing the minimum. You are going to become that topic, if I could call it that. Maybe I've just become extreme about life.
Very well put. No, but that mentality is very useful. Like
Yeah.
that mentality is that's how you get things done. Like for real. It's funny you mentioned the biggest distraction for you was like chatting up girls. For me, the biggest challenge was actually at home because like there's so much work to do, assignments, studying, but also and parents don't really care like oh you have to do this, like that's not my problem, you still need to cook and clean, and you have to do this, you have to do that, make me this, make me that. It's just like regular standard. Yeah. So always having to structure studying and like working time around those household duties, that was a big challenge for me. Like the time I'll be able to start studying and working, it'll already be like maybe 11 at night.
Wow.
And I have like 6 hours of stuff to get through.
Wow.
It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, it
No
was
nonsense.
tough.
But you
Yeah.
survived.
Yeah, hey, thank God for the Wits libraries, man. Like, I spent a lot of time in the libraries.
Where did you
The
sit in the
libraries
library?
were
Which
actually
was like your
nice, bro.
seat? Which was like your go-to spot?
They were Central Library called.
Oh wow.
I forgot what it's called.
I was in that library.
But Central, I think it was third, second or third.
Wow. Hey, sorry, I think the Wi-Fi is misbehaving.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
It always paid off.
yeah. Can you hear?
Amen to that.
Can you
Oh yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah, yeah. There was the cat the kid because one time I went there, I saw this really cute girl, and I was always hoping I'll see her again in that library. Yeah. And then I only saw her again like maybe a few times. And then fast forward 10 years later, I'm on Bumble, and we end up matching like literally 10 years later.
Okay. Pass your course. That's the
Yeah,
sexiest thing you
good
can do.
times.
Just pass. Passing is sexy,
Yes,
man.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
So after that accomplishment,
Passing is sexy.
oh, big time. Hey. So after that accomplishment, how did you apply to a university in Korea? How did you find it? How did you find the
Yeah.
right program? How did you go about it?
Yeah. Master's programs,
Okay.
scholarship programs, whatever. And they had this program called the Korean Government Scholarship Program, and they usually have a limited number of places for people from different countries. So initially, I was gonna try for that, but they were gonna take maybe like one South African person.
Yeah.
So that was gonna be quite slim, like
Very
quite a hard
competitive.
chance. And then yeah, I just searching all the universities. Like I listed up all the universities from top maybe like top 20, and just search their websites, search their programs, what scholarships are available for foreigners. Some had like 50% scholarship, some 80%. And I
Like
find with
work and
when
study.
looking for these, yeah,
Wow.
when looking for these types of opportunities, you just have to basically exhaust all the options, go through everything. And I think it's best to be systematic about it. Get a list of all the possible places and research them one by one, one by one, one by one. In 1 or 2 days, you'll see what are the prospects, what are the available opportunities. And I was also quite fortunate. I was out in South Korea at the time, and my girlfriend was Korean, and she really helped me a lot with searching online for the required
You need a network of people, honestly.
and what are the programs. Yeah, maybe relating to the country and the language. That's also
So did you write any Korean in your motivation letter? Because I'm assuming they wouldn't even know you.
It was Yeah, it was quite active for the program, or the most important thing to initiate the application process was getting a recommendation from a professor.
Mm.
So after finding the programs, then I had to find a professor who had a research interest, which I found my research would be aligned with. So that's the next level. Okay, step one, find the universities. Step two, find the scholarships. Step three, find the research programs
Mm.
and the professors with the research centers that you might fit into.
Mm.
So I found one professor who had a research center which focused exactly on what I was into,
Wow.
and that was construction technology.
Mm.
So I looked him up. I looked up his research work. I looked up everything he had done, and I
Wow.
wrote a very nice email.
Wow. Wow. You
Like,
mentioned
oh,
you also did the
reflecting on the research
safety.
you've done.
Oh, sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I wasn't into safety then yet,
Oh, that came
but
later.
the focus was more on the technology.
Oh, I
So
see.
I basically, yeah, I tried to link my experiences in the technology side to the work he'd done. So I drafted a very deliberate email,
Wow.
like based on your work on blog experience
Mm.
and whatever to contribute in this way and that way to your research center, blah, 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 if there'll be an opportunity. And he replied and he was like, interesting, drop by at my office this day and let's have a chat.
More analysis than a
And
Bumble
I
match.
traveled.
Tweet, swipe right. Yeah. Mm. It's on, bro.
And then I dropped by at his office
Mm.
and he was very chill. This is actually an interesting story.
Mm.
So this is in South Korea, right? And he has gray hair, like
Mm.
fully gray hair,
Mm.
and he looks more like an actor than a professor. Like all his clothes are like
Lifestyle.
perfectly fitting.
Steez.
Yeah, maybe he's in like his 50s, 60s, but you can
Mm.
see he works out. Like this is a fit, strong man.
Mm.
Like
What a guy.
super charismatic. Everything's always like on point.
You could just tell he was a
And it's
high
just like,
achiever.
he's,
Like, um,
yeah. Straight away, I was like, whoa, who's this
mm.
like super charismatic man?
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, sit down. And I brought like stacks of papers and stuff to discuss with him and show
Mm.
him my work.
To
And he
show
didn't
that you're
even look.
passionate,
He's
like
like,
you're
oh,
about your shit, bro.
like no
Like
need
you're
to see
about that
him.
action. Like,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah. And then conversation and he was like, yeah, I think you could contribute something and just fill out the application forms and very chill, very simple. Like, yeah.
How did you
So if you
avoid
find
not
the
coming off too emotional? Because some people would be like, "Oh, thank you," like in Pimp My Ride when they meet exhibit, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So how was your reaction when he
I
said you're
just I
in the
just
program?
maintain.
What was your reaction?
I was like, oh, thank you. I was very chill. I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, then I'll start processing the application forms and blah blah blah. And yeah, I'll be in contact. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
nice.
Yeah, and there's a bit of drama that comes in here as well. It's kind of sensitive, but I don't. Anyway, I'll
Okay,
drop it
hide
in.
the names. Hide the names. The names will
Yeah.
not be disclosed.
So I was dating a girl at the time, and she was helping me with this application, and we basically had like a big fallout, misunderstanding. Like long story short, it seemed like I did something
Hmm.
very bad. Actually, I did do something quite bad at the
Oh
time, to
shit.
be honest. And I think she hit up this professor and basically like
Almost
said
ended you.
all the worst things about me. Like,
Almost ended you. Just fucked up your career. About to end this man's whole career.
yeah. Like don't let this guy join your center, whatever.
That
He's
was
not serious.
always
Blah
my
blah
number
blah.
one fear in
Oh
Korea.
my
Like these
gosh.
honeys carry a
Yeah.
vendetta, bro. Like once
Mm,
things go wrong, these honeys end you. Oh, it
mm.
was always my fear, bro.
Yeah.
Hmm. You're basically in a K
Yeah.
drama. So how did you survive that? Like,
The thing is, after we had that drama, then later she told me like, oh, I think I might have sent an email by mistake when I was upset. I'm sorry. I don't think it sent, but maybe it did.
Sent. Read
And I was like,
receipt, bro.
yep, that means she sent it. That means she sent it. And I was just like, wow, this is so bad. Like, this is really bad. But it was funny. The professor never said anything like at all.
I
He was
think he
always
knows the
like,
life. He knows
he's
the life,
always
bro.
he's always calm, always composed. And then maybe 2 years later, after I finished my whole master's with him, when I was starting my PhD, out of the blue, he was like, Akeem, in this industry, as a professional, you should always be aware of your reputation. Always take care of your reputation. Finish. And we just carried on eating. He's like, pass me the salt. Like the
That is
end.
life advice. Clearly he had been through life and he knew.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
he was a legit cat, bro.
yeah.
Proper, legit. Like a lot of people, like especially on the media, you can even become confused because they give us so much internalized racism where they're like, nah, they don't feel black people. Nah, they don't do this. But he realized that, yo, this is somebody who's trying to, increase their knowledge and is a legit cat. And
Yeah.
if he wanted to, he could have found a reason to be like, nah, fuck this guy. Don't want to
Yeah,
be in my program.
pretty much.
But
Pretty much, yeah.
the fact that he even let you have one slip up here, one slip up there, like, hey,
Yeah.
thank God for that, bro.
Yeah, and it's not a good look.
How did you maintain composure after that? Like, when you're with your honey at the time, and she's just like, yo,
Yeah.
I damn near almost ended you. How did
To
you?
be honest, you mean with the girl?
Yeah, after she said, look, I sent this email, almost
Yeah,
effed you up.
I was upset, but the relationship was already kind of like bumpy. So it was like just a lot of struggle.
You
Like we
didn't
were
have to
just
get
trying
more
to make
emotional
peace.
to.
Yeah, but I was deep down. I was pissed, like really pissed.
But you
Like,
maintained being stoic. I see. Being
yeah,
emotional wouldn't have helped the situation.
yeah,
I must say that is one skill I felt I learned from you in South Korea. Like you have to get that stoic frame on. You can't be pouring,
in your
petrol on
feels.
the fire. There's some
Yeah,
situations where you have to be about your shit and just accept and be like, move
yeah.
on.
Exactly.
And women look for that, eh? That's another thing. Like, okay, I'm not my Red Pill channel hasn't started yet, but maybe to sprinkle on it, like it ties into having to study. No
Yeah,
matter what life gives you, you can't get emotional about it. If you're hoping to study at an institution, you have to put
yeah,
emotions to the side, bro. The only emotion you're
yeah,
allowed is enthusiasm for your area of study. If you're
yeah,
depressed, if you're this, if you're fighting with someone,
yeah.
that will fuck up your marks. Don't
Exactly.
even. Don't bring your beef from home. Don't bring
Yeah,
just
and just
about your
to
studies, bro. Yeah.
exactly, and just to add in on that, like how you say we can't be emotional. I don't like the idea of being stoic in the sense of I'm gonna switch up my emotions and there's no room and time for them because the emotions are still there, right?
Yep.
I mean, maybe on the surface level you can suppress them, but they're still there and they're still gonna affect you maybe later down the line. I think, just my perspective, it's more important to have the perspective that whatever life gives you, that is exactly what is perfect right now, whatever it is, because life is exactly as it is, and you cannot change what is right now. So it's more how I think of it. It's more of an acceptance of what is, and within that acceptance is where you have the power to change things. So it's like an appreciation of whatever there is, whatever life gives you. You have to appreciate it because it's a blessing. You're alive to even be experiencing that thing. It's a blessing.
Amen to that.
And then if we can always maintain that blessing mentality, because it isn't like we're literally so blessed. You have an opportunity to study. You have an opportunity to develop yourself. It's hard. The person did this person did that.
Yeah.
It's tough, but it's still a blessing, bro.
Yeah.
It's still a blessing. Yeah. If we can always maintain that perspective, then like it wouldn't feel like we have to force ourselves to be stoic.
Yeah.
It'll just be more of a natural appreciation.
True.
Like things are tough, but we always recognize how blessed we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's incredible, eh? And
Yeah.
stay off online, because there was a point where even online you weren't posting statuses. You just looked like a guy
Yeah.
who was busy. Like,
Yeah.
no time for dumb stuff. Just
Yeah.
busy. I'm about my work.
All that
No,
stuff will take up your
can't
time
be
too.
complaining. Oh my goodness, I can't believe what happened to me today. Tweet, post the status.
Yeah.
None of that. Like,
Yeah.
be about your purpose. Wow.
There's a job to be done. Yeah.
Mm.
A job
It's a
to be done.
lifestyle, eh? I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And there was actually a lot of fun in. It might sound bad, but
Mm.
there was a lot of fun in going that deep on working on something. Like during my master's, during my PhD, sometimes we had paper deadlines where we had to finish a full paper in like 1 week's time. And basically, we'd live in the lab. We'd live in the research center for a week. We had like these portable beds, these folding beds. So basically, we wake up maybe 9 o'clock. We work through the whole day. This person's writing this section, that person's writing that section, this person's writing this section. Combine, tabulate everything, see how it's flowing, go for lunch, continue for like 7 days.
Wow.
And it's funny living like that. You almost don't feel human anymore, because like your whole thought process is dominated by a single task. You don't feel like a person anymore. You're not thinking about what party's going on this weekend, who am I going to hang out with on Friday, Saturday. There's just one task and you have to finish that task. You're not thinking about your friends back home, your family, nothing. Just finish the task, go to the toilet, drink water, eat food, finish. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned in my life, is how powerful your mind is. Like you can lose so much in a short space of time. And I read this book called Mastery by Robert Greene. And he has this concept called death ground. Like you can tackle a task or a job with the mentality of yourself being on death ground. And the main notion is basically your life depends on it. There's no way out. You've been backed into a corner. There's no hope, and you're gonna fight back. You're gonna fight for your survival.
Wow.
So you're dropping everything. No Instagram, no Facebook, no distractions. Like it's like you've had enough. Like I've been struggling. I've had enough. I'm gonna give this one thing my all, my everything. And I like that idea even with like working on personal projects, working on business ventures. That fire you can generate within a short space of time, that intense fire, you can go so deep into something. And I find sometimes that's more effective than gradually pacing things. Like I'll do 1 hour today, 1 hour tomorrow, 1 hour tomorrow, 1 hour tomorrow. Yeah.
Just
Mm-mm-mm.
diving straight into the extreme.
Into the deep end, deep end. Yeah.
So if you had to compare
Yeah.
your toughest day at WITS versus, which university were you in?
I was at Chunan University.
Chunan. Okay.
Yeah.
Toughest day at Chunan versus the toughest day at WITS. If you had to compare them, what were some of the major differences? Because now, so you weren't staying with your parents in South Korea, so I assume there was more time, but then the money might have been lower. What were some of the differences?
Yeah. I think the toughest thing with WITS, things were really difficult, bro. Like the type of difficult where it's like, yo, I actually might fail the subject. Like I might fail. I might not make it through university. That's not funny. That's stressful. It's really stressful. And then trying to find study guides, trying to find past papers to prepare. You don't know what's gonna come up. A lot of the subjects were just straight up really difficult. Even if you studied a lot, it was still hard. So that was the type of difficulty on the WITS side. On the master's PhD side, it was more the magnitude of the task you have to do. You have to write a paper, you have to write a thesis. It's basically like writing a book. But I kind of enjoyed research. So I think over time I learned how to strategically break down those things into smaller things. And I enjoyed like diving into it. So to be honest, I'd say Vits was harder just out of the difficulty of the subjects. But the masters and PhD were harder in terms of like how much time I had to put in, how much work I had to put in. Like sleeping only 5 hours in a space of 2 days. Situations like that, like I had to deal with. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, wow. One of the things in my postgraduate study that was super annoying, that even to this day I'm still trying to work out a way to figure it out, is group work with uncooperative members. And I think I see what an important skill it is, because even working with a company, if you have an employee who's not playing the game correctly, it messes up everything. So,
yeah, it really does. Really does.
I think those soft skills, I can honestly say, if anyone's looking to go into postgrad study, it's not just about the subject, but also your soft skills.
That's very true.
And knowing how to motivate unmotivatable people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Life skill.
Yeah, and also that problem solving, like knowing how to go about getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Like I knew some guys who were doing their like masters and PhDs part time while working full time in companies, and whenever they had like major assignments, they didn't have the time to be writing these essays and doing calculations and stuff like that, and they'd literally get like the junior cats to do like all the manual work, and they'll just do like the final stage polishing on it, like strategic things.
Yeah.
So it's unethical and all, like it's unethical.
Hey,
but cats are trying to survive.
They're so intense. They're going down and they'll take you down with them. Hey, you learn how to just. So, after such an intense experience, and now you're pushing a musical project, how has that experience affected the way you look at producing a musical project?
Like I like the idea of going very intense over a short period of time, but with music, if you spend too much time on one thing, eventually like your clarity is gonna drop. Like if you keep listening to the same thing, your judgment completely goes out the window. You're gonna be making bad decisions. You not like your ears get fatigued. So it actually doesn't work. You can't make music for 16 hours straight. Like it doesn't work. But just the consistency of working on like a research paper or thesis, working every weekday for like months, for like years, that sort of work ethic also comes into my music. So it's pretty much the same. Every day I'll wake up at similar time, make music for 4 hours, have my breakfast or lunch, and then get back into it, make music another 3 hours, and that's it. It's a very standard routine, and I just stick to it. And out of that routine, like good music comes out like once in a while.
Okay. Very, very, very interesting stuff. And the next thing, just to sort of tie it in, on top of all this, you were also studying the Korean language. So what would you have told yourself before you knew an annyeonghaseyo? What were some advice you would have given yourself to really lock the language down?
Get a girlfriend who doesn't speak any English.
Best method.
Like zero English. But then that's not like something that you can just decide. Like maybe it's gonna happen, maybe it doesn't.
That's in the out. In the passport.
Yeah, but talking to people who don't speak English at all makes a big difference. And I was working at a school as an English teacher, And during the summer vacation, I was stuck in the teacher's room with this other teacher, and she didn't speak any English, and she was kind of like a similar age to me.
Mm.
So every day we stuck in this office together, and she was bored out of her mind, and she wanted to keep talking to me. And I didn't know any Korean, and she doesn't know English, but she just wanted to keep talking. And over that 2 week period, my Korean ability literally like went like
Oh, wow.
really, really, really up.
Korean people are nice. They'll like make it their mission in life to teach you
Yeah,
Korean. Look at this. Korean
I,
pen, pen. This is a pen.
I
Paper.
was
This is
getting
paper. This
I
is a
was
hat.
getting annoyed. I was getting annoyed there, man. I was
Next day,
getting
quiz you.
annoyed.
What is this? Oh, yeah. Every Korean food. Shikhe, kimchi. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which
Oh,
study
good time.
material were you using to pick up the language?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Talk to me in Korean, the website. I really,
Oh,
yeah,
and then
I
the podcast.
really, yeah, I really love that site, man.
Oh,
Because they
wow.
have the podcast, they have the
Hmm.
PDFs to go with it. They break everything down in English. Yeah, I
Yonoshi.
really loved it. Really loved it.
Oh, wow.
And it's free. And I was doing like maybe 4 episodes a day
Wow.
during the week. And I'll try to review them before I go into the next ones. And
Oh,
yeah, it
wow.
was really brilliant, really
Mm,
brilliant.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm. So, which part of the Korean language would you say is the toughest part that a lot of learners struggle with? Is it the grammar?
I'm not sure about other people's experiences, but in my experience, I struggled with pronouns quite a bit, like Jonan,
Mm,
Yenan, or
mm,
like this person, that person, those people. And somebody said something more teaching, more 했다고 했어요,
oh,
or
wow.
뭐라고 했어요.
Mm,
That was quite difficult. Like that sort of
wow.
third person. Like this
Wow.
person said that thing about that person. That was quite difficult. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. How did you really increase your reading speed and listening and get like a large, like an arsenal of vocabulary to use?
Yeah.
What was
Uh,
your method
re-
around that?
Reading speed and listening. I think to be honest, it just happened by itself.
Okay,
The key was
just
just
that
being
immersion. Mm,
the immersion one thing, and being open to that
mm,
immersion.
mm,
Like every day, I just wanted to learn.
mm,
So as soon as I wake up, I go outside. I'm seeing signboards everywhere. I'll be translating stuff. What does this mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
mm,
What does that mean?
mm,
All the signs on the buses. Oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? People talking on the trains. People talking on the buses. I'm listening. Like, what are they saying? What are they saying? Like from when we got to Korea, I was just really curious. Like, I wanted
mm,
to understand what are these people about, because the culture was so foreign, so
mm.
different. It's like we got thrown into an anime world in the in real life,
Wow.
and I'm like, I wanna understand it too. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Oh, wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
What did you find really effective for you? Like,
Okay, so starting off, I think with Korean, what happened with my
mm,
Korean is, so having been in Korea 1 year, 6 months in, you're like, hey, I really want to learn the language. I really want to, it's like almost having a superpower. If you can speak Korean
mm,
and English,
yeah,
then
yeah,
you can communicate with more people. You can learn
mm,
a lot of things really well. But then
mm,
I was like, I'm only in the country for a year. After that, I'm just going in adventure,
yeah,
live life.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
sort of plateaued. And
yeah.
then when I went back to SA, I went downhill, no more studying
Mhm,
Korean.
mhm,
Then with Japanese, though, a similar sort of thing kind of happened. But I was like, or rather, because I didn't want a similar thing to happen, six
mm,
months into Japan, I was studying Japanese like a crazy person, just
mm,
going in deep. Because also,
mm.
I think in Japanese compared to Korean, the learning curve is severe. The three writing
Yeah.
systems, hiragana,
Wow.
katakana, then kanji, is so intimidating. A lot of people just are like, nah, not going to do it. It's not
Mhm,
going to happen.
mhm, mhm,
And you have
mhm.
to have a sort of obsession to break through it, because it is possible to do it, but
Yeah,
you have to
yeah,
compare learners who have gotten it versus ones who haven't, and you have to copy what other people are doing that's working for them. There's certain books you have to read, certain methods you have to know about to learn
mm,
the kanji.
mm,
And um, what, and I'll say there are three main plateaus that a lot of beginners face. There's the one where you know just words, but you can't really read, because Japanese also doesn't put spaces between the words. So you have to know a lot of like background stuff to actually know what's going on and recognize patterns.
Wow.
The next one is where you know sort of half English, half Japanese. You don't, you have to know a lot of grammar as well before you can have proper conversations. Even to read a kid's book, there's a lot of basic grammar you have to know.
Yeah.
So for a long time, you'll be like, I'm studying this language for a long time, but I don't know anything. And that feels kind of whack. Then the third one is where you're somewhat conversational, and it's a massive plateau, and a lot of people get stuck in here forever. They never get out. And to break through that one, you have to start reading native or close to native level articles again and again, the same article again and again, and draw new meaning from it each time. And I almost got stuck in that last plateau where it's like, look, I've been studying for a long time. The best I'll get is conversation. And I had to meet other students who had already broken through that plateau. And you have to like hang out with them, study with them. That group study, it was the last little piece I was missing, because I was always so used to studying by myself that you'll only get so far by yourself. Eventually, you have to start working with a group of learners. And then when we started filling in each other's gaps, that was when I was like feeling competent. I was reading things I'd never seen before, but I could understand. Yeah, I'd say.
Do you get to use do you get to speak and use your Japanese these days too? Like if I remember correctly, the place you work is Japanese company.
I work for a Japanese company, and the thing is, they're only going to use the Japanese that they deem your level is at. So you sort of have to show and prove. You have to be raising the level each time, using more complex words. Then they also give you a bit more to do it. Speaking with native speakers is good. Listening in. So not that you are the one speaking, but if there are two native speakers speaking and you're listening in, then they don't hold back any punches. But sometimes when you're somewhat conversational, they'll tone it down so you understand. But working with other language learners, I'll say, is the last little piece that a lot of people have. Or then you end up, if you've been studying a lot by yourself, you end up getting a really weird accent, and you speak very unnatural words. You start talking to Google. You sound like Google Translate. It's like not quite there. You have to aggressively break through that plateau, because a lot of people get stuck there. Studying Japanese 10 years, but you're still a bit it's not quite there.
I found something that worked with Korean, especially with your pronunciation, is watching series like dramas and copying the stuff they say. I like acting stuff as well. So I'll literally be trying to copy exactly what they say and how they say it, and I found that makes a really big difference. But like one has to be quite dedicated to like actively sit there, not just passively like watch and recline on your couch. Like everything they say, pause it, say it, pause it, say it. If you don't know a word, look it up. Like you need to know everything. You need to tackle it like aggressively. Like nothing should pass you by in a day.
Oh wow! I really have to ask about that one. I think that'll be the last question to end off. The entertainment industry in Korea, which is unavoidable for anyone who's in K-pop or a K-drama, or you also. But even me, I also want us to try. What made you interested about the Korean entertainment industry, and how did you get involved in it?
What made me interested? To be honest, it was an opportunity that just presented itself to me, and I was like, yeah, if I can make like more money on the side through this, like why not, for sure. That was the honest first thing. And I've always liked well, I'm a dancer, I'm a b-boy, so of course if I have more avenues to show my art and my craft, That's always amazing.
Mm.
But I always wanted to do acting and stuff, but I never had like any formal training. And I saw many opportunities in the Korean entertainment industry for that.
Mm.
So how it started up for me, I think it was on like maybe Craigslist or something. I don't even remember. I just had some pictures done and I sent them to a whole bunch of agents who are looking for foreign models or actors or whatever, and nothing happened.
Okay,
And
you have
then
like a
one year later,
headshot and then
yeah. I
oh
remember
wow.
it was Lex, yeah.
Oh wow.
And then nothing happened for like a year. And then 1 year later, one person replied, and they're like, "Yeah, want to do a shoot, want to do this, want to do that." And then one connection from B-Boy, someone Virus knew,
Mm.
um, connected me for a Samsung commercial. And I was like, "Yo, this is huge. I'm gonna dance in the Samsung
Yeah,
commercial.
yeah.
How huge is that?" And then we shot the commercial. It was a total disaster. Like it was my first
What
like
was
big.
tough about it?
I had to keep doing the same moves, and I wanted to do like power moves and flips,
But
and
they've got one thing in
really
mind that they want.
that was really tiring. They wanted a popper and locker,
Mm.
and I'm a b-boy, and I'm doing
Mm.
moves, and we shooting for maybe like 4 or 5 hours.
The
And it's
same
like, do
thing.
this move again,
This
do
angle.
this move again,
This angle.
do this move again, do this move again. I was tired. I started crashing. I was falling. I'm
Mm.
surprised I didn't hurt myself. And then the worst part of it all, after we filmed the commercial, the agent guy was like, "Oh yeah, the payment's delayed. The payment's delayed. The payment's delayed." For like 6 months, the payment was delayed. Long story
The point
short,
you're
I
even
never
pissed
got.
off. You're like, I don't even want to do this anymore.
I never even got paid for it. And I'm like, this is Samsung. Of course they have a budget for it. So that was my first experience in the Korean entertainment industry.
Okay, that's messed up. And you
Like,
didn't get paid.
yeah,
And you didn't even get a
I
Samsung
didn't get
phone.
paid. Nothing, bro.
I didn't even get
So
Samsung cake, bro. I didn't get anything.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay,
Oh, that's messed up.
this is the
Yeah.
entertainment industry. And then
Yeah, that's rough, bro.
I connected with this one girl. Her name was Jiun,
Mm.
and she was like very, very nice. And she
Mm.
started connecting me with extra roles in dramas, in movies.
You and
It
a couple
started off
of
as like,
dope ones though. You were with
yeah,
the Polish homie. I forgot his name. He's also a doctor. Mm.
oh, that was the talk show or something different.
No, there's like some Korean celeb walking, and then you and him see her, and he's like, "Oh, she's beautiful."
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That's a different. That's different one.
Ah, it was dope, bro. That's the way.
Yeah, she connected me with that. So I started doing a lot of dramas,
Mm.
some movies. I got like randomly some really dope movie roles, like
What about that
movie extra roles.
reality show in Singapore that you did?
Ah, yes.
Hey,
That was like a
memories,
dance show. Yeah,
memories.
yeah. Eventually I started knowing like a lot of agents,
Mm.
and there was always like different work to
Mm.
do. And also through the dance community,
Mm.
there were always like once in a while little things to do.
Okay. What advice would
Yeah,
you give to? Sorry to cut you off, but just
mm,
to ask, what advice would you give someone? I'm new, I'm fresh, I'm green. I
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
I wanna go into the entertainment industry in Korea. What are some key things that they should do?
I think first thing, know exactly what you want to do,
Mm.
and two, know what you're working with.
Mm.
Do you have any specific talents
Mm.
already? Like if someone wants to model, do you feel like you have a model look? Do you have
Mm.
something that maybe designers could be interested in?
Like one move and drill
And
it. Like this is what I'm
yeah,
presenting, and be able to do it for 5 hours straight. Yeah.
and you have to be real with yourself. Like what am I working with? What can I do with this? For me, my main thing was dancing and commercial acting. Like I'm quite comfortable with that.
Mm.
Like light commercial acting, and a bit of like reality TV shows, talking stuff, that
Is
sort of
the Korean essential?
thing. For some stuff, I think actually yes, it's important. Yeah, but now it's becoming more and more saturated. There's so many foreigners who
Mm.
speak Korean. Like, yeah. So, okay, once you know what's your thing that you think you can bring to the industry, find agencies,
Mm.
find agents. Like, you probably have to go through word of mouth, meeting people directly. connect
Like
me with some
Craigslist.
agents, connect me. Yeah. Or you can even search online and you'll see some agencies interested in foreigners. But I think some of the ones that'll come up might not be that good. And then once you've made those connections, have a portfolio, have good pictures of yourselves, good videos if you're acting or if you're dancing.
Is social media presence important?
Yes, it is. It is. It is. And I see a lot of people these days, they're very active on social media and they always use the hashtag Wegugin model, like foreign model. So for everything they're posting, they add the hashtag Wegugin model, foreign model. And through that, all the agencies like hit them up and find them. So I don't use the hashtag, and every few maybe weeks or months, some random agent will be like, "Hi, I want to add you to my database."
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know the Korean audience is a bit more conservative, so no face tattoos, no neck tattoos.
Actually, no. I think that is that might actually work well for people.
You think so?
Because it makes, yeah, definitely. It makes you stand out. A lot of Korean models I've seen that are doing really well, not only in Korea, but internationally, are guys with face tattoos who've shaved off their eyebrows. It's something different. And that's the thing about modeling. Like, it's like different is what works.
Because I thought even when J-Park goes on TV, but also maybe like if you're Asian in Asia, different standards. He had to cover where the sleeve.
Yeah. But he's not only like he's like a big scale entertainer, and he's appealing to a very broad audience.
But if there are little niches you can appeal to in Korea.
Definitely. Yeah. And one tip for people who are into modeling, for getting fashion shows, like I think a lot of people dream of like, oh, I want to do a fashion show, I want to do a runway show, blah 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 blah. Like I reached a point where I was like, I've never done this, I want to do this. Like, why not? Let me try.
You're quite dedicated, eh? You were like, nah, I can't be eating McDonald's every day. Nah, gotta have the look.
Yeah, it was a phase. And then I was watching a lot of Gary Vee at the time. And Gary Vee's like, if you offer something, you find people and you offer it to them. And eventually you find someone who's interested in what you're offering. And that's how you build. You just have to do the work. You have to grind. So I went in with that Gary Vee mentality. And I looked up like Seoul Fashion Week, which designers are in it. So I had a whole PDF of like all the designers. I looked at their stuff. I looked like which sort of brand has a vibe which I might fit well with. Like I know with like suit looks, I can do quite well model-wise. With maybe sort of hip hop or youth culture oriented stuff, I can do quite well. So I just hit up like tons of designers, maybe like 20 or 30 designers. Before I even got to 30, I had maybe like 2 or 3 responses.
Wow.
So I was like, you have to do the work. Like you have to.
And hit them up in Korean.
Yeah, in Korean directly.
Okay. So the
like
language
yeah, like I'd love to model for you for this show, whatever. And then finding out about auditions, I did some auditions as well, and those went too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, epic days, huh?
Yeah. Good times.
You never entered like Idols Korea, or so you think you can dance Korea just to get some clout, just a little bit?
Nope. There was one thing. There was a dating show where there's like 8 people in a house, like 4 guys and 4 girls, and people like they want to see like who's gonna date who. And maybe
like Terrace House. There's a show in Japan called Terrace House. It's exactly like that. Yeah.
It's probably same. And my manager at the time wanted me to like apply for it, and part of me is like, yo, why not? Like, get a bigger following,
and get clout, eh?
Make money. But I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I'm gonna be
way too
like
raw,
putting on my game, like showing how I am, like live on
Just be
TV.
that dry guy. Just be that dry, shy guy. So, do you have a girlfriend? Oh, no. I only study. Oh, no.
No. I can't do that.
They should, though, eh? Hey.
No.
But it would be too raw. Even when I was watching Terrace House, I'm like, they couldn't have a guy like me on there. I'll just be
Yeah.
too raw. Yeah.
Especially now, bro. Like, yeah. Like there's no game. It's just like it is
Guys are
what
out
it
here
is. It's
simping.
like
I'm too
yeah,
Red Pill for that show. Too
yeah. It's gonna be bad, bro.
That said, I think I have to do it. That might be my new thing. But it'll be like I'll fund it myself. I'll rent an
Yeah.
Airbnb and I'll just swipe on Tinder. 4 chicks. Come, let's make our own.
Bro, the funny thing is, it sounds like a joke, but it's very doable. Like it's very, very doable. I saw some people did like a dating show on YouTube. Some UK people, where they just get like 3 guys and 1 girl. So it's basically like a real life Tinder. So the 3 guys are all trying to like run game on 1 girl, and they have episodes, and it does well. Their production quality is like not even good, but it's interesting. Like,
DSLR revolution, just a few DSLRs, even the cell phone footage. People eat this up.
Yeah.
It's pandemic, people have nothing to watch. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, I think you should do that actually. That Airbnb.
We'll speak it into existence.
Do it, bro.
I'm holding auditions.
Do it.
If you are watching this episode, comment down below. You might just get invited to the Smash House.
Yeah.
Come through.
What's it gonna be called? Smash House? Nah, that's
House,
too raw, bro. Too raw.
It's open to interpretation.
Finesse it a bit.
It's open to interpretation however you want to. Mash House. I'll remove the S. Just Mash House. Yeah. Mash House. Yeah. Eat potatoes every day.
Oh,
delicious potatoes every day. Mash House.
Oh, Mash House.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you. Yeah. That would be dope though, eh? Yeah. And we can do it in different countries. Move to LA for a bit, Korea for a bit, Japan for a bit, other African countries, Kenya for a bit.
Yeah. So what's the format? 4 guys, 4 girls? Or?
Yeah, and me, just being raw. Yeah. But I'll
and mashed potatoes.
Yeah, of course. The potatoes would be just for namesake, but other things will be going on. And then I'll be there. I'll be telling the guys, you can't be simps. You can't be simping here. This is what you got to do. Be on your purpose.
Nah, they can simp, bro. We need the entertainment value.
Simping, bro. This is how you tell a woman she's beautiful in different languages. Make breakfast for her. Meanwhile, I'll be just a raw guy. Okay. Anyway,
dope.
I think we've got some outstanding content.
Yeah,
the real ones listen to this. The real people know.
Very fun conversation today.
So thank you so much. We discussed universities.
Thank you, bro.
Applying for languages, and the entertainment industry. That's gold. Where else on the internet can you find such content?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
and if people have. Yeah, also if people have like specific topics they'd like us to talk about, maybe relating to our lives in Asia or relating to dance, travel, wherever, like let us know. We can dive in.
Okay, wishing you an awesome week.
Yeah.